Hi. Hi there. Thank you, ma'am. Nice temperature in here, like outside. It's a beautiful day outside.
Finally.
Finally. I know you control the weather too, Matt. You
Yeah, I
should have
try.
just done a little bit better. So I was saying, somebody better, a few days ago when it was 28 degrees, that somebody better tell April that she's not February. All right. Here we go. I have a few announcements. So the topper is a little long. I hope it'll be interesting enough for you. It's interesting for me. All right, welcome aboard, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. As this is my first briefing this week, I'd like to wish Christians a blessed Holy Week and Jewish people all around the world a happy Passover. And now, today, as anti-Semitism surges around the world, our message to Jewish communities remains unchanged. The United States stands with you. We will fight anti-Semitism with unwavering determination. We will advocate for the safety and security of Jews everywhere. And on to something else as well. On the tariffs, the coverage of President Trump's indefatigable effort to make this country great again involves the Herculean effort to change the trading trajectory of this country, which has been placed under a crushing burden of a web of unfair trade arrangements resulting in American taxpayers being ripped off every single day. Only President Trump has the vision and the courage to say enough is enough. The United States of America has the great benefit of having the world's best deal maker as president. His actions on tariffs have illustrated to our enemies and allies alike that the United States is a nation that should not be taken for granted and whose fortunes are directly connected to the success of every other nation on this planet. Through this process, Americans and people of the world over have been reminded about how America has been taken advantage of, and that, courtesy of President Trump, we have a way to fix the damage done to this nation and the world by the global left. Now, with over 130 countries coming to renegotiate their trade relationship with the United States, President Trump has reset not just the trade environment, but has also reminded the world that respect matters and will be expected by President Trump and the people of this nation. In announcements for today as well, the State Department has canceled another 139 grants worth $214 million under Secretary Rubio's direction. As the Secretary said, quote, "The American taxpayers should not be funding misguided programs. We are cleaning up the mess the previous administration left and rebuilding an agency that's focused on putting America first." Now, let's look back to last weekend. Ambassador Stephen Witkoff conducted talks with the Iranian foreign minister, which were hosted by the Omani foreign minister. As the White House statement described, quote, "The discussions were very positive and constructive, and the sides agreed to meet again next Saturday. Our goal remains clear. In the words of Ambassador Witkoff, quote, "A deal with Iran will only be completed if it is a Trump deal. Any final arrangement must set a framework for peace, stability, and prosperity in the Middle East, meaning that Iran must stop and eliminate its nuclear enrichment and weaponization program. It is imperative for the world that we create a tough yet fair deal that will endure, and that is what President Trump has asked me to do." Also last weekend, Expo 2025 Osaka officially opened on Sunday in Osaka, Japan. The 31,000 square foot USA pavilion showcases American excellence, innovation, and leadership, and reinforces our commitment to engagement in the Indo-Pacific and the U.S.-Japan bilateral relationship. Over the coming 6 months, the Expo looks forward to welcoming millions of visitors. Back here at home, Secretary Rubio joined President Trump in welcoming President Bukele to the United States yesterday. Since Secretary Rubio's visit to El Salvador, the United States has deported dangerous MS-13 and TDA gang members to El Salvador's prison. Because of this, our nation is safer and more secure. As Secretary Rubio said of President Trump and President Bukele, Our hemisphere is lucky to have two leaders who are totally aligned in their commitment to law and order. Last, in non-foreign policy news, I want to applaud the Trump administration's FDA on their plan to phase out various animal testing requirements. As the FDA said in their announcement, quote, "The new approach is designed to improve drug safety and accelerate the evaluation process while reducing animal experimentation, lowering research and developmental costs, and ultimately lowering drug prices." Bravo. That's my topper. All right, now, to your questions. Sir, Mr. Matt Lee, the AP.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yes.
I just wanted, just a point of clarification. You said that only President Trump can undo the damage done to the world, the nation and the world by the global left?
I know, surprising that it comes from me, isn't it? Surprising that comes from
This
me.
has to do with, you're talking about tariffs, right? The whole world free trade, international trade regulations, which began after the Second World War.
Well,
I'm
yes.
looking at one Eisenhower, two Nixon, Reagan, Bush,
Matt, may I answer you?
one,
I know.
and Bush two,
Yes.
and I'm
Yes.
find it hard
Well, you
to
know,
believe that
there's
you're-
something. Let me
Are they
answer you,
part
sir.
of the global
Let
left?
me answer you. Let me answer you. Everything that starts like, well, trade. There's always a good idea, right? You always have a really great plan, and things move along, and it's very good and it's very nice. And then time changes, and the left gets control of certain aspects, certain countries, certain Congresses, and things begin to change, and spending begins to increase, and arrangements begin to change, and are not necessarily as good for the United States. The fact of the matter is, at this point in time, we are on an unsustainable path, a burden that is crushing. You see it in the actions that this administration has to take regarding the budget of this entire entity. This becomes an addiction. It's an addiction to other people's money. And as Margaret Thatcher noted, of course, is that the
Also
main
part of the
problem with
global
socialism,
left,
sir,
okay.
the main problem with socialism is that is when you run out of other people's money. Because that eventually happens. I know that's not perhaps satisfactory for the Associated Press. But I love you anyway, Matt. I love you anyway. But your question is, at least my answer to what your statement was, is that at this point in time, President Trump is the only person that can undo the leviathan that this trade framework became around the world, and he's doing it. And I've been watching this coverage, the pearl clutching. It's been remarkable. This is going to be one of the greatest resets of many resets that the Trump administration has implemented, and it's going to make a difference not just for the American people, but for all those countries that realize that this has to change. So it'll be better for the world over.
My point was merely that, are you trying to say that all those presidents and who you just mentioned, Margaret Thatcher, are
I
part of the
can't believe
global
it.
left?
I've just talked way
Okay.
too much already. I think
All
I've
right.
answered that. Yes, sir. I think
Okay.
I've answered
All
that.
right, so on the grants that you just said were canceled,